Well, good afternoon, Internet. It's me, DP Knudten, and I'm just about to go live on Zoom with my new guest for the Nonfiction Brand podcast. His name's Roger Wakefield, and I see on Zoom that he's logged in, but I'm not seeing his face or hearing his microphone yet. So it could be a couple minutes because we got 10 minutes before the hour when we're actually going to hit the play button or the record button to record live this next episode of the Nonfiction Brand podcast. And Roger's been someone I've been dying to get on for quite a while, and you're going to find out why in just a few minutes. But let me just set it up by saying that whenever I do presentations on branding, I try to make the point that everybody should be doing branding, personal branding, small business branding, personal branding as small business branding, and vice versa. And I always try to give examples and tell stories. And I have not found the perfect person's story in the past. So I've always kind of cast about for a field of an endeavor in business that people take for granted and think, well, why would anyone build a brand as a personal brand about that? And I always pick plumbers. So in the past, and this is not picking on plumbers, I'm just trying to say that everybody should be doing it. So the example I always use is some fictitious or fictional plumber out there who's actually out there building their personal and their what I would call nonfiction brands via everything. Hey, there he is. I see him on screen. He's looking very handsome in his red shirt. Hey, Roger, I'm. If it's okay with you, I didn't ask you ahead of time, so I'm asking you now. Is it okay if I go ahead and live stream this to YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and Twitch as we speak?
No problem at all.
All right. Well, there he is. There's the man himself. I'm going to go ahead and go to my shot here. And of course, I was just watching one of Roger's live streams, and he understands very well that technology can have hiccups all along the way. And that occasionally happens here as well. So please bear with us. That said, I was just explaining to the audience that may be plugging in early that, oh, come on, don't give me a thing saying my internet's having problems. But anyway, that I've wanted to talk to Roger for a long time because I've always used plumbers as an example of people who could be and should be using social media and marketing to build personal brands that can take their business from one level to an entirely new one. But I've always had to use a fictitious or fictional plumber. Well, now I met the man who's actually doing it, and I'm going to go ahead and hit the play button on this to actually start recording, which we are through Zoom. And I want to introduce you to Roger Wakefield. I mean, let me just set it up this way. I am at Social Media Marketing World this year in 2020, and I get there a little bit early to check in before the crowds, are getting all their credentials and stuff like that. And I'm not the only one who did that. In fact, after I got my little laminated badge and all that stuff, I sat down, and then right in front of me, about 10 feet away, was this guy who was wearing I think it was a teal blue shirt with embroidery not only in the front. Yep, there he is. He's holding it up. If you're watching the live stream, you can see that kind of tealy bluey thing, and it's got this embroidery on the back. And it's not just a little piece of embroidery. It's like across the entire shoulder width, and it says Roger Wakefield, the Expert Plumber. And I'm like, that's really cool. So I went up to him, I tapped him on the shoulder and said, hey, Roger, I just want to let you know your shirt is working when it comes to marketing. And we briefly started talking, and I knew right away I wanted to have him on the podcast. Well, guess what? That was doubly cemented when we sat in the keynote of Michael Stelzner's at the beginning of Social Media Marketing World. And who does he use as an example of someone who's going from zero to hero using social media, building his personal brand? And, well, I don't want to tell the whole story. I want you to tell that story, but let it suffice to say that I finally found my example, my avatar of a person who works in trades who is actually using it to build a personal brand that has had incredible effects. And so, Roger, I want to say thank you very much for coming on the Nonfiction Brand podcast. And can you give us a real quick introduction to Texas Green Plumbing, who you are, what you do, and how you do it?
Absolutely. And number one, thanks for having me on. I know we've talked about this before. It's hard to make things happen, but when I saw the email yesterday and I saw the time today, I said, you know what, I'm in. So it worked out really well. I own a plumbing company just outside of Dallas, and it's a small company. I started it 5 years ago. And the neat thing about it is look, I love plumbing. I'm passionate about it. I love the trade. I love the career. I love everything about it. But I literally have been hiring the wrong marketing people. And I hired marketing people that actually made our phones stop ringing. And I did that more than once. So the big thing for me is I decided that I wanted to learn social media and talked to my wife about it. And business was struggling. And it's like, look, this is the next thing we need to do. Let's go ahead and do it. And I showed up at Social Media Marketing World the first time 2 years ago. And kind of like you, I showed up early. I walked in early and I went in and said, hey, look, I'm here. Can I go ahead and register? And you know how they are. They're the most amazing people to deal with. And they're like, absolutely. Come on up. The lady takes my name and hands me my lanyard and says, okay, you're a plumber. I'm going to find some more plumbers for you to hang out with. And she looks down her list. She says, there's no plumbers here. I said, what other kind of people would you hang out with? I said, roofers, electricians, landscapers, window cleaners. It doesn't matter. Residential trades people. And she scrolls through her list. And this girl looks up at me almost brokenhearted. And she says, there's nobody here like you. I don't know who you're going to hang out with. And I don't know if it was, God talking in the back of my head, the angels singing or what, but I'm like, look, I'm good. Don't you worry about me. And I just saw the opportunity. And I mean, think about it. And I had somebody ask me this just the other day. They said, Roger, wouldn't most people have just got scared, tucked tail, turned and left and said, look, I'm in the wrong spot? And that's not me. I looked at it and I thought, wait, there are no plumbers here. Why not? And I walked in, I got serious about it, and our business really was struggling. As you heard Michael say, my wife called, I don't remember if it was later the first day or the second day, and says, look, we're not going to make it. We're going to be shut down by the time you get back. And I'm like, Julie, look, that's not what I need right here while I'm trying to learn. But that was the message. And I decided, look, if I'm going to do anything, I've got to do it, and I've got to do it now. And I jumped in with both feet.
Well, and all you have to do is check out Roger Wakefield on YouTube, and you aren't going to see a guy with a YouTube channel. You're going to see a guy with a YouTube television station because you've got multiple streams of information. You've got stuff that is directed toward plumbers on how to build their businesses. You've got stuff for homeowners on how to deal with certain issues ranging from, do I need a new water heater, to, hey, how can I fix a leaky faucet, and everything in between. So you've got multiple audiences that you're serving. You've got multiple shows, if you will, because one is for the pros, the other's for the newbies, or the total novices. And you're there, and your brand is very clearly saying one thing, and that is, I'm an expert plumber, and I'm here to serve you, whoever you happen to be. So I was just watching your most recent live stream, which is yesterday's, right, or Monday's, at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. You do a live stream for plumbers or whoever wants to come on you do a live stream for anyone who wants to come on the live stream and answer questions every Monday at 4 p.m. Central?
You bet. I do. And it's funny, I do that on YouTube. But then at 10 o'clock today, I have my wife in here. We did a live stream. I've got LinkedIn Live. So she comes in with me on Tuesdays. I'll come back in on Fridays. Normally on Tuesdays, we talk about networking, how to grow your business by building your network. And on Fridays, I talk about plumbing or social media or really whatever people want to talk about. But I mean, think about what you just said. How many plumbers do you see out there that just fire up a camera and say, "Hey, you got a plumbing question? I'm here to help. What can I do?" And we started our channel teaching homeowners how to fix their own plumbing. I thought, you know what? I'm tired of paying a lot of money for Google, pay per click, AdWords, all that. So we started learning social media. How can we just get in front of our customers and teach them? Let them learn about us by teaching them how to fix the things they can fix. And then we started realizing I've got people that want to get into the trades. I've got people that are in the trades that want to get better. And now I've got either business owners or tradespeople that want to own their own company. They're like, look, I don't know how to start. I don't have the money. I don't know what to do. Can you help me? And I want to help everybody I can.
And what happened when you started helping people for free over the free channels of things like YouTube Live, LinkedIn Live, etc.?
It just started blowing up. I literally, I think there's two that I really love helping. It's that I have high school students or college students. And, you know, I don't just say college men or high school boys. I've got students, I've got male and female people that reach out to me and say, look, I want to be a plumber. And what do you think? Can I do it? And the answer is always yes. I mean, I've had people, whenever I was an instructor in the union, I had people anywhere from the age of 18 up to 55 getting into the trades for the first time. And I've seen them do well. So it's not you asking me, can you do it? I'm going to turn around and say, I don't know, can you? Here's what it takes. You've got to be diligent. You've got to want to learn. But do you just want to get in the trades, or do you want to be the best plumber, electrician, HVAC tech? Do you want to be the best you can be? Because that's what I want to teach you how to do. Because in the world today, I mean, anybody can just get in and get a job, but look what happens. People get laid off. But if you can become the best, you're going to have a job forever, whether you work for someone else or whether you work for yourself one day. It's going to be whatever you want it to be. And to me, that's what the trades are.
Yeah, well, and you've actually addressed that in some of the videos that you've done about talking about how to get into it, or, you know, answering all those kind of before you get into it questions of, okay, what can I expect to make? Or, you know, I don't want to own my own business. I want to work for someone else. What should I expect? And I mean, come on, you're even in there. What is it? One day ago, yesterday, how to crush your plumbing job interview. Ask questions. I mean, literally, you just did a video. Right now, it's up to 517 views in a single day on how to crush a plumbing job interview. What plumber is doing that anywhere in social media? Well, the answer is Roger Wakefield, and he's the guest I've got on today, and I'm really super happy to be talking to you about it because you're blowing my mind, man, because we talked a little bit in San Diego this year, but I was there and we discussed a little bit. Ends up, we went to Social Media Marketing World for the first time the very same year. And I'm watching where your trajectory from that first year, comparing it to mine, going, oh my God, this guy has lapped me about 16 times. But I'm so excited about that because for those of you not watching the live stream, I just want to describe to you what Roger looks like as a human being. One, take Kojak, the bald-headed PI from, you know, way back in 70s TV, add a droopy mustache that you would expect to see on a walrus. I mean, I'm just going to say you're a genial walrus-looking guy. I mean, big, burly guy. And also, I want to say, without going into detail or speculation about your age, that you're certainly on the, let's just say, the top of the hill and maybe a little bit on the backside of it, right along with me. I mean, I'm looking at your gray mustache and comparing it to my gray everything, saying that we have a lot in common. The fact that you, after the years of experience you've had, after the success you've had, after the challenges you've had, have decided to embrace this new medium, and what it's done for you is incredibly impressive. Add to that the fact that you're in the trades, you're a plumber. That to me is incredibly impressive, because most people think, well, to be an influencer, you've got to be a 20-something-year-old beautiful young girl who knows how to do a smoky eye makeup and stuff like that, or you need to be a chef or something kind of sexy like that. And the answer is no. You just need to be someone who's got some experience and the openness to share it, and incredible things can happen. So if you really want to get an idea of what Roger is about, just look up Roger Wakefield. That's Roger Wakefield, Wakefield, on YouTube, and spend about 5 or 6 hours going through all the videos he's put up there. How many videos do you actually have up there, man?
Okay, well, hold on. Before anybody looks that up, I want you to think about this. Have them do something different. Don't look up Roger Wakefield. Look up plumbing. And I say that for a reason. If these people have never searched plumbing before on YouTube, and if you've never searched it, go search it now. Search plumbing and see what comes up. Normally, my channel comes up at the very top. Normally, my videos, I've normally got 8 to 12 of the top 20 videos. Now, anybody who knows YouTube knows it's the second largest search engine in the world, which I learned 2 years ago at that first social media marketing conference I was at with you. But my thing is, can you imagine having 4 to 6 of the top spots on the first page of Google? Meaning if somebody searched plumbing, marketing, chiropractor, whatever it is you want to be found for, in my trade, it just so happens to be plumbing. But to have 8 to 12 of the top 20 videos would be just like having 4 to 6 of the first listings on page 1 of Google. What is the value of that?
Well, I'm here to tell you, I just...
you
I'm going to
said,
tell you how a dishonest plumbing company.
Hold on. Sorry, I went to one of your pages and it started auto playing. I just looked up plumbing, and you, unfortunately, every page of course is going to be different. You came up starting at number 3, but then you owned the rest of the page. The first 2 were owned by Got to Learn, which is a how-to channel, which is very, very popular. That makes sense. But the rest of the page is Roger Wakefield. That's incredible. And all you have to do is ask yourself.
I just learned to do this.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're right. No, go ahead. You're good. I just learned to do this.
Yeah, this is okay. If you were a company like any other plumbing company, and you hire a small advertising agency or something like that, and then you pay them, let's just say a beginning engagement with any ad agency is going to be at least $20,000, probably more like $50,000. And they promise you that we're going to do a direct mail campaign. We're going to get you a great Yellow Pages ad. We're going to do some traditional advertising. We're going to do, we're going to vinyl wrap your vehicles so it all looks great. We're going to do some local radio tie-ins, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, and by the way, we'll probably want to do some social media, which our crack team of 20-year-olds who've never owned a home and never fixed a toilet are going to actually do for you. Well, meanwhile, you got Roger Wakefield, who's creating his own videos that own plumbing on YouTube, the second largest search engine in the world, and you're doing it all yourself, right?
Yes, sir.
So, I
don't know what else to tell you. I mean, here's the deal, and here's something you said that was very interesting. You were there at that first social media marketing world that I was at. And since then, I've gone to Vid Summit. I've gone to Video Marketing World. I've done a couple of others, but social media marketing world, that's where it started. And I tell people that it is literally like drinking water out of a fire hose.
Oh yeah,
there's so much information. And think about it. How long have you been in marketing? How long have you been doing what you do? been doing?
Close to 30 years.
I mean, yourself. How long have you been doing this?
Yeah,
Okay.
close to 30
I
years.
haven't. And I even, yeah, I told my wife when I walked in, I said, look, I don't know anything about marketing. I don't know anything about social media. And it's funny because just in an interview the other day, I said, look, I walked in there thinking I was going to learn how to do Facebook posts better and how to like, comment, share, have people join my groups or my pages or whatever it is. And literally, that's what I thought that I was going to learn. And I walked into Daryl Eves' class, and he starts talking about YouTube. And I still remember, and I laughed about it a while ago. I still remember when Daryl, at the very beginning of the deal, he says, YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. And I had already opened up my notebook or my iPad or something, and I looked up and I thought, this guy has no idea what he's talking about. YouTube is just the place I store my videos. That's all it is, and he's thinking it's a search engine. And I mean, I am literally thinking, okay, can I get up and walk out? Because I'm on the front row. That's me. And I sat there and I listened to his whole presentation, and by the time he was done, I was like, I've got to change everything I do. And I've got to get started now. And I have become a student of social media. I've become a student of video. I've become a student of, and I say social media, LinkedIn and YouTube both. And I've been like, look, I think I can do this. And it's funny because you mentioned, Michael Stelzner. It all started because I heard a podcast where Nathan Chan from Founder Magazine interviewed Michael Stelzner. And I listened to that. And I was literally on the treadmill. I used to get up and walk 4 miles every morning before work. And I'm on the treadmill and I'm watching and listening. And I say watching, it's a picture of Nathan and Michael on it. But I'm listening to this, and it blew my mind that Michael was a content writer. He wrote white papers. He did things like this, and he started Social Media Marketing World, Social Media Examiner, and everything he did, it blew my mind. I'm like, wait, how did he just start a business like that when there was nothing like it? A few days later, I'm on the same treadmill, and Gary Vee is on there, and he's up in front of a stage talking, and he says, look, I don't care if you're 20, 50, or 70, you can do this. And brother, I almost fell off the treadmill. I stopped and I grabbed the treadmill and I backed it up and I listened to him say it again. And the bad thing is I needed somebody in New York to tell me it was okay for me to do this.
Right.
And that still blows my mind. Why are we waiting for other people to tell us it's okay to do something? Because I haven't had anybody tell me it's okay since then. I walked in Social Media Marketing World and said, look, I can do this. And now when people look at me and say, you can't do that, remember, when I walked in 2 years ago, they're saying, look, you really can't use social media for local. It's national, it's worldwide and all this. But we've used it, and Will and I call it social local growth. We know how to grow local business through social media, and it's huge.
Yeah. Well, and you were doing it. I mean, I learned by watching other people. I learn osmotically, I learned by watching role models. And so, dude, I'm sorry, Roger, you're a role model and you've inspired the bejesus out of me because I'm looking at what you're doing. And here's the thing. You have a natural personality, and it's not, and please don't be insulted by this. It's not a personality that will ever be the lead anchor on the Today Show. Doesn't matter because you've got
that's the job. That's the job I was going for.
Yeah, right. But you've got the personality of the person the lead anchor from the Today Show would be talking to, because you're exactly who you are. And you present what you know in a way that is very accessible to people who just want a question answered. But when you're answering that question, you're building a relationship. And that relationship can then convert into any number of other things. And I want to definitely talk about that in the second half of our conversation. But for now, I just want to get people to get you into their orbit, because you're going to be so inspirational. Because I don't want to pick on plumbers, but there's a little bit of, well, if a plumber can do this and be successful, imagine what I could do with what I do. And if that's your takeaway from this, that is exactly right. Because I'm just like you. I went to social media. I went to social media marketing world. That fire hose blew me away the first year. It blew me away the second year. It blew me away the third year. But what I do is I take that big single takeaway from it. My first year was I need to be doing more video. Well, sounds like you and me had the same takeaway, but you grabbed that by the horns and started doing it in a huge way. My second year was, wow, I got to start doing this live stream thing because I started feeling more comfortable with video. And now this year I'm accelerating all that stuff because you find the stuff that fits you, the way you do it, your voice, who you are, and who you can serve, and you find the channels that work best for you. Now it's just a matter of turning the dial up on it. And sometimes you need to have that rabbit in front of you. Well, I'm telling you, Roger Wakefield is my rabbit, and he's going around that track at 100 miles an hour, and I'm struggling to keep up. But, dude, you got to see it to be it. Well, Roger's the guy that I'm seeing, and I hope to be one of these days. So check him out. By the way, I've talked a lot about your YouTube presence. Where else can people connect with you?
LinkedIn. You were talking at the second social media marketing world, you started learning about live streaming. YouTube or LinkedIn reached out to me 2 weeks before the second social media marketing world, the second one for you and I, and said, hey, look, we love your video. We'd like for you to start doing live streaming. And I was like, wait, I didn't know y'all did live streaming. And they said, well, we don't, but we're fixing to start. So I was one of the first 12 people in the world to do live streaming on LinkedIn.
Oh my gosh.
I got LinkedIn Live a week before Social Media Marketing World a year ago, and I did one of my first 4 or 5 LinkedIn Lives from Social Media Marketing World in San Diego. So, and that was a year ago. So it's a blast. I just jumped in and loved it. YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Man, I'm having fun.
Yeah. So again, that's Roger Wakefield, Roger, Wakefield, Wakefield. Check him out.
Wake. Wake.
Did I? Yeah. Did I?
You missed an E.
Oh, sorry. Let me try that again. That's Roger Wakefield. Sorry. That's Roger Wakefield, Roger, Wakefield, Wakefield. And are you open to connecting with people via LinkedIn and stuff like that if they want to connect with you?
I love connecting with people, but when people connect with me and their next message is, hey, I'm going to teach you how to do video for your website, I normally unconnect with them because they're really not paying attention. They're just trying to make connections.
Yeah, amen, brother. And I do the same thing. If the next thing I hear from you is a pitch, forget it. You are unconnected instantly. So, but if someone had a plumbing specific question for you via any of those channels, would you be up for answering it?
Absolutely. Plumbing, social media. I get questions about everything, and I answer everybody I can.
Well, there you go. Roger Wakefield is the real deal. I cannot recommend that you connect or bring him into your orbit enough because you'll learn a ton from this dude. That's it for this week's episode of the Nonfiction Brand Versity. But wait, Roger's going to be back for the next half next week, so don't miss that. For now, I'm DP Knudten for the Nonfiction Brand Podcast and Nonfiction Brand Versity, the free Facebook group that, of course, you can join. Just answer 3 questions, and you are in. I hope to see you there on campus. And he is
Roger Wakefield, lead AP, the Expert Plumber. I'll see you in the next video if you don't get flushed.
Boom. There you go. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, so now we continue our conversation. I want to make sure that I'm making good use of your time. Do you still have time for, say, another half hour?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've got another one at 4:00. I got a call about Master Networks. If you saw my LinkedIn post today, I posted something about Master Networks is doing a bunch of free training.
Yeah.
And I've got a Zoom call with them at 4 o'clock. So
Okay,
perfect
we'll get
timing.
you out of here faster than that then.
No,
Good.
you're good. As long as I'm out 3 or 4 minutes before, it doesn't take me long to flip over.
Okay, great. Woo. Did we lose you? There we go. All right. So the how comfortable are you talking about the thing that you hinted at, and Michael Stelzner certainly talked about at Social Media Marketing World, the fact that that first year when you were there, your wife called and said something along the lines of, "By the time you get back, we're going to be out of business."
You bet. Doesn't
Is
bother
that
me at all.
true?
Oh yeah, yeah. My phone was blowing up. I was in a session. Don't even remember which session it was, but I mean, it just kept blowing up because I had it on vibrate. I should have turned it off. And I walked out in between sessions, and I walked over by the glass windows upstairs, and I called her. I said, "Hey, what's going on?" And she says, "Look, I'm just going to let you know the phones aren't ringing. We're sending guys home." She said, "It's bad." And I said, "Well, baby, what do you mean? How bad is it?" And she says, "Look, we're probably not going to be open when you get back in town." And I said, "Look, breathe a minute. We're going to make it." And it's like, look, somehow, some way, we're going to make it. And I've had tough times before. I remember the first employee I hired. She called me one Friday and she says, "Look, we don't have enough money for payroll." And I said, "You know what?" I said, "Go into my room. I've got a big 5-gallon water bottle." I said, "Carry that down to the bank and cash it in." And she says, "Roger, there's not enough change in here for payroll," which is just one guy that really had to be paid. And I said, "There is, just take it." And she took it, and I had about $1,100 in change in there, so we paid him. And, it's one of those times you think, okay, I hope it never gets this bad. And here I am in San Diego at Social Media Marketing World, and my wife calls and says, "Look, we're going to be out of business by the time you get home."
Wow.
And I knew that we had a lot of people that owed us money. I mean, it's plumbing, and I'm not a bad guy. I don't finish a job and then go kick the door in to pick up a check. But I just told her, "Look, it's going to be okay. Somehow, some way, it's going to be okay." And, I left that first Friday because I had a radio show in Dallas Saturday morning. But on the way home, I'm literally going through my iPad. I'm going through my notes. I am coming up with an implementation plan. And I had a radio show in Dallas Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. As soon as I was off the air, I was headed back to the office, and I've got notes, I've got iPad, I've got everything all over my desk, and I am coming up with a plan. Sunday morning, we got up, went to church. I took her home and dropped her off, and I came back to the office. And that Saturday and Sunday, I probably stayed here till 5 or 6 in the evening trying to get things done. And when her and my stepson Will walked in the next morning, we got the guys out, and then I called them into the office and I said, "Look, we're changing everything we do, and we're changing it right now." And we quit focusing on marketing. We quit focusing on marketing companies, and we started looking at how can we get in front of our customers with video. And we knew that YouTube would be the way that we went. Later down the road, I got invited by some people to do some more stuff on LinkedIn, so I did. And then LinkedIn came to town and actually sent me a message saying, "Hey, look, we're doing a pop-up event for LinkedIn video. We'd like you to come." And DP, when you've got a business like me, somebody calls me once a week and says, "Hey, I work with Google, or I work for Google. We'd like to work with you on your advertising." And you ask 3 or 4 questions, and finally my killer question is, "So you're telling me Google writes your check? Your check is signed by Google?" And they're like, "Well, no. What I mean is, we work with Google." And at the time, I'm like, "Okay, look, I do pay-per-click. I work with Google too, so don't call me anymore." And I get a call from a lady, and it started out as an email, then it became a phone call. But I said, "Okay, so let me ask you, you work for LinkedIn?" She says, "Yes." I said, "So LinkedIn signs your paycheck?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Wait, you said yes?" And she said, "Well, yeah, I work for LinkedIn." And I'm like, "Okay, you have my attention." So I went to that pop-up event, and my videos is one of the ones that they put up.
Wow.
And she's the one who a few months later sent me a message and said, look, we would like for you to do LinkedIn Live. And then a few months later, she sent me a message and asked me to speak at VidCon. And I mean, think about this. I'm a plumber. I've never spoken in front of people like this. I've never stood in front of a camera and done things like this. I am truly, God's honest truth, 100% a plumber. But I've got a message that I want people to understand and hear. And to me, that's what it's all about.
Wow. I mean, do you need more of an example than that? You've got Roger here, and the name of your company is Texas Green Plumbing. What does the green aspect of that refer to?
Well, if you, in the beginning of my videos, it's like, hey, I'm Roger Wakefield, lead AP, the expert plumber. And I am a lead AP. And what that is lead is leadership and energy and environmental design. And AP is the government's criteria. It's an accredited professional. And it's a nationwide certification. And back whenever I was a quality control manager and superintendent for some of the biggest mechanical contractors in Dallas, we were building LEED projects or big green buildings. And I believe in water conservation. I believe in sustainability. I believe in green, doing what can we do to keep the world around longer? And what can we do to keep from just depleting it? And it sounds funny, but I'm a lead AP and a green plumber. Green Plumbers USA used to be a certification, and I've gone through all their certification and licensing. But I believe in water conservation. I believe in sustainability. And if me as a plumber can go in to a house and recommend things to people that will help them save money by helping them save water, I'm trying to help everybody.
So that's a big part of your story, and a big part of your brand is that you aren't just a plumber, a person who can put pipes together. You're a person who can put pipes together in a way that is LEED certified or LEED, qualified. You're a LEED qualified individual, and that's a huge thing for you, differentiating yourself from your brethren and sisters within the union. Because let's face it, plumbers are, if you're a union plumber, which I understand you are just like every other union plumber out there. You're a commodity. But you have elevated yourself above the commodity union plumber into this new space by doing the LEED AP certification and all that stuff. But you are now embracing that and taking that story forward in a way that's making you not just a LEED AP plumber, but you are Roger Wakefield, the expert plumber, who happens to be LEED AP certified and is a union plumber. Do you see there are layers of qualification and story that are all wrapped up in your personal brand, which makes you incredibly more valuable, not only to the people who might need you to do plumbing within their home, but multinational companies like LinkedIn who are literally calling you up to get some of your mojo to spread on them as they introduce a brand new feature called LinkedIn Live. And that happened within, less than 2 years of you doing your first video?
Probably less than a year.
Oh, my
It was
Lord.
less than a year. I mean, think about it. We walked out of social media marketing world on, I believe, March the 2nd, 2018. 2 weeks before that same weekend, the next year, they were already talking to me about LinkedIn Live. Because I was already doing it. I mean, 1 year later, I was doing LinkedIn Live at Social Media Marketing World. And just a few months after that, they asked me to speak at VidCon. And I mean, I'll tell you how naive I am and how out of this market I am. Literally, when I got a phone call, and actually it was an email, I got an email from LinkedIn, and it said, Roger, would you be interested in speaking at VidCon about LinkedIn? So would you be interested in speaking on a panel? And I thought, okay, what is VidCon?
Yeah.
So I'm texting or calling Jeremy Vest, who was my YouTube coach at the time. And I'm like, Jeremy, I just got a call from LinkedIn or a message from LinkedIn asking me to speak at VidCon. What do I do? He's like, yes. I said, well, what is VidCon? He said, Roger, it's the biggest social media marketing event in the world. He says it is, or I guess video marketing conference in the world. And I'm like, well, how come I've never heard of it? He said, well, it's mainly a younger crowd. I said, well, how is it bigger than social media marketing world? And he said, well, it's 6,000 people versus 75,000 people. And I'm like, wow. I had no idea it was going to be all kids or mostly kids, but I went to the, I don't even remember the different levels that they had, but I wasn't down there with the kids. I was up where the YouTubers, the LinkedIners, and all that are. And then I was over in the industry level. I got to hear Daryl Eve speak again. And then I was on a panel. It just, it blows my mind because, DP, look, anytime I'm speaking or anytime I'm talking to people like this, the first words out of my mouth are normally, hey, look, I'm a plumber. And when I mean that, literally this morning, 6 hours ago, I was under a sink over in Carrollton, taking out an old sink, helping one of my apprentices put in a new one, putting in a new garbage disposal, putting in a new faucet. And that's my morning. And that's what I do. And I have just learned to do this. And I go back to this because it's something you said a while ago. I learned to do this 2 years ago. And before I walked in, I barely knew how to spell YouTube. But when I walked out, I knew I could make a change. And me being a plumber, the way I look at it, the way I think about it is when I walked in there, Michael Stelzner gave me a whole bunch of new tools to work with.
Yeah.
He gave me YouTube. He gave me LinkedIn. He gave me video. He gave me live streaming. He gave me Snapchat 2 years ago. I went to the session Sean McBride was in. So there's so many things that, like I said, it's drinking water out of a fire hose, but it was all just new tools to me. And me being a plumber, the way I see this is, look, if I learn to use this tool, I can do something different. I can do something new. And to me, that's all it is it's a new tool to work with, but look what I've done with it in such a short period of time. And think about what somebody with a bigger education, a broader knowledge base about marketing, about video, about social media, look what somebody could do. And it blows my mind that it was this easy for me to do, but I jumped in with both feet and I hadn't looked back yet.
Well, and that's the key thing is that if you're like most people, especially people who might be a little bit older, a little bit more experienced in their careers or in careers that are not YouTube influencer, look at me, I'm selling cosmetics or I'm trying on new fashions or, I'm traveling the world going from cool spot to cool spot as an influencer, you would not look at Roger Wakefield and say, wow, dude, you're an influencer, but you are a huge influencer in your given area and at your age. Again, I'm not going to guess, but I will say this. I'm guessing we're probably in the same age cohort. We were able to watch the Brady Bunch when it was live on TV, when it aired in, 1970, whatever. And we're old enough to remember those things because we watched them as they actually aired rather than on reruns. And then we watched them in reruns as well. And I hate to say it, but people you're in our age, I guess, a lot of them are saying, this is not for me. I cannot do it. What I do is not interesting enough. How can I do an interesting video about what I do? Well, all you have to do is watch what Roger's doing because he's embracing his industry. He's talking about things like tank water heaters versus tankless water heaters. Well, guess what? There are a lot of people who are asking, hey, we need a new water heater. I've heard about these tankless things. I'd like to learn more. So where are they going to go? They're going to go to YouTube, type in tankless water heater and see what comes up. If you're the person answering that question, guess who builds a relationship with them? And even if you're not in their service area, you're still, well, let me ask you this question. Do you ever get people saying, I wish I lived in your service area. Do you know anybody who works in mine that you could recommend? Do you ever do references like that?
I've got calls today. I'm looking for a plumber in Salt Lake City, Utah. because I've got a friend through social media. It's like, Roger, look, I trust you. Do you have anybody up here you recommend? So that happens all the time. But, and look, I'm almost 57. So I'm not on the younger end of the scale here. And I completely get it. But like I said, I needed Gary Vee to say, I don't care if you're 20 or 50 or 70, you can do this. And I go back and I think about that so often. Why did I need him to tell me I could do this? And, you described me earlier. I'm a broad-shouldered guy. I've been a football player, a bodyguard, a bouncer. I've done just about everything. But I'm not one of those people that you would look at and think he asks people for permission before he does anything. I'm just one of these guys, look, if I want to do it, let's go. As long as I'm not going to hurt anybody, I'm good. But social media was something that I didn't understand. I didn't think I could understand. I thought, you know what? I've got my 20-year-old stepson in here. He can take care of it for me. I don't have to worry about it. And that's what it was. And something made me go in, open my eyes, open my ears, and listen, and then say, okay, but wait, what if I can do this with it? And to me, that's what it is. And traditional marketing, and it's funny because I had this conversation with somebody yesterday. I've got a marketing company that's asked me to come in and speak to them about what I do. And it's really funny because they know I do not like marketing companies, because to me, most of them are telling people whatever they want to hear to get them to write a bigger check. And I used to always tell them, look, just make it make sense to me. And you said that about my videos. When I make a video, I want a third grader to be able to understand how to fix what it is I'm talking about. Because if they understand it, there's not a man out there that's going to say, look, I couldn't figure out what he was talking about. And we're very conscientious of that with our cameras. Where do we put our cameras? Can people see what I'm talking about? But I've got a marketing company that has over 400 offices worldwide asking me to come in and do a Zoom call and talk to them about social media. Now, the funny thing about this is if you look at their portfolio, they specialize in social media. They specialize in influencer marketing. They specialize in SEO content strategy or social media content strategy. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, you know how many marketing companies I've heard say that they specialize in it, that's their forte, that's what they're good at? But then you look at what they do and it's like, you don't even know how to spell SEO and I gave you the S and the E.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, well, anybody who's listening to this podcast who thinks, I'm a little too late to get started, maybe I'm not as savvy when it comes to what things work and what things don't, or I'm not sure this is for me, I just got to say, take a look at Roger Wakefield, because all those things applied to you as of 4 years ago. I don't know this. I don't think I have anything to say or any value. I'm not a 20-year-old who looks really great in a swimsuit or knows how to do makeup tips. So how could I benefit from this? Well, the thing that I heard you talk about last episode was you were in a single session that opened your eyes and pried open your ears, and then you took the one nugget, the one seed that was necessary for you to take back to Texas with you to get started, and that was, I need to do video, and I need to get past all those things that I think I can't do, and do what I can do. And I'll be honest with you, you can go to school on Roger's channel, and you go to the early videos, and they're a little bit rougher than the ones that came after. Now you've got this cool set, you've got great lighting, you use multiple camera angles, you've added to the production value of what you're doing tremendously, but the content value was there from the first video because you answered a question and you served a specific audience. How did you go about identifying the audiences that you could best serve?
We started out knowing that we wanted to make videos to help our customers. I wanted to teach, if you were my customer, I wanted you to be able to go watch my YouTube channel and say, hey, my toilet's running. I can probably fix that by myself. And we were putting those videos out. And it's funny because then we started having plumbers getting in saying, you realize you're taking money out of our pockets. And I'm thinking, really, if you're mad because I'm telling a customer they can go down and buy $12 worth of parts and rebuild their toilet, if you're mad, come find me. I don't care. Do whatever you got to do to make you feel better. But my whole thing is we started there. So the content was easy. We knew what we were getting calls about. Take what your customers are asking you every day and make videos about that and make videos to answer it very clearly. And I go back, Marcus Sheridan speaks at Social Media Marketing World, and he says, people have a stigma against fiberglass pools. He said, so I started making videos. What's wrong with fiberglass pools? And putting those videos out there. I've put videos out there saying, look, everybody's not my customer. And there's so many people that start business right now that say, hey, everybody's my customer. Well, I hate to tell you this, if everybody's your customer, nobody is. And my theory behind that is, look, there are people that can't afford my prices. There are people that don't want to pay extra because I go above and beyond to do everything right. And I'm fine with that. Nobody has to. There's Mercedes-Benz and there's Volkswagen for reasons. And there's Lamborghini and there's Chevrolet for reasons. We each get what we want, and we have that freedom to choose it. But if I want to create a service that goes above and beyond, I have that right. Well, my videos, I started out wanting to teach people how to fix their own plumbing. But then I realized I had plumbers or people wanting to get into the trades getting in, asking me how to become a better plumber. Roger, I like your video. You do things right. The people I work for don't. How can I be more like you? How can I learn to be a better plumber? How can I learn to be a smarter plumber? And just so many different questions. So that just kind of opened us up to more buckets that we could make videos in to help people learn different things. And the opportunities are still there. I mean, we've been making, I thought about it a while ago when you said something. We've done over 400 videos now. We did our first real video that we made for YouTube 2 years and 1 month ago.
Wow.
Because it was the first week of April that we put it in. And think about it. You and I walked out of social media marketing world the first week of March. A month later, we were putting up our first video, and we've done just about 3 a week every week since then. Plus, we've done some live streams. Plus, we do some special videos every now and then. So there's different things that we've done along the way. But now we're not just talking to homeowners, but now we're talking to people that want to get into the trades, people that are in the trades, or people that are in the trades and want to open their own company or grow a company they've already got. And we're trying to teach everybody how to do the things that we've done to help us. And I think that's just amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing, especially given the fact that you got those phone calls from your wife that first year that said, we may not have a business. And now let's fast forward. You were there then. Where are you now as a business?
We're doing very well. And it's funny because the thing that I look at, and I tell everybody this, I walked out of the office, and it's probably been a couple of months ago, and it seems like every time I tell the story, it's like, just a couple of weeks ago, I walked out of the office one day, and my CCR, my call center rep, is sitting at the front desk, and she looked up at me and she said, we got 3 leak detection jobs or slab leak jobs off YouTube yesterday. And I stopped and I looked at her and I said, what do you mean? Which we specialize in slab leaks and leak detection. It's just like walking into social media marketing world. There's new tools out there. We learn how to use them better than most people, and got really good at something. But I'm walking out the door and she's telling me about these 3 jobs that came in the day before. Slab leak and leak detection jobs, that they're $1,500 jobs, something like that. They normally turn into $5,000, up to $85,000 jobs. And these are people that call us because they saw what we do on YouTube. And they call us because, if you've ever taken any sales training, anything like that, you want to become somebody's trusted advisor. And that's what we've become. And I get calls from across the country, Salt Lake City, Utah today, but a few weeks ago, I got a phone call from a lady in South Carolina who had seen one of my water heaters or seen one of my videos. Her water heater was making a noise, and she called the office because she needed to talk to me because she thought her water heater was going to blow up. And you know what? We don't even mind those calls. It lets us help people.
And what does it cost you to have those videos up on YouTube?
Oh, let me see. Let me get out the calculator and tell you it really doesn't cost anything. I mean, don't
Exactly.
get me wrong. I've got people. Okay, when I started, this is what we shot with. We shot with a phone. We shot with $100. And look, DP said it right. Go back and look at my first videos. I'm sitting at my chair in my office, and don't get me wrong. I can't tell you everything about it, but we're turning my office into a whole new studio now that will be phenomenal. And we're excited about it because it's given us something different to work on. But I mean, literally, and even my YouTube coach, Jeremy, when he first started working with me, he says, do not ever sit at that desk again and use that webcam and that webcam mic. But you know what? That's what we started with. And we got good at it. And don't get me wrong, those aren't great videos. But like you said a while ago, we were putting out good information, good content, and we were answering questions that people were looking for. And man, when you can help people, they're going to remember you forever. And it has been really good. And it shows. Uh, 2 years ago, we started making videos, and I think right now we're getting about 330,000 views a month. It's it's crazy. I mean, it's about 23,000 hours watch time a month of people watching videos about plumbing. And like you said, look, it ain't sexy. I'm not some young 20-year-old in a swimsuit that looks amazing. I got more gray hairs than I have intelligence. So anybody can do it. I'm a plumber. If I can do it, anybody can.
Well, there you go. And that's why I love having Roger Wakefield on. That's Roger, Roger, Wakefield, Wakefield. Check him out on YouTube, on LinkedIn as well, and just about anywhere you can, because the dude is doing it in spite of the fact that he's not a fast-fingered 20-year-old on an iPhone who's going to the grand opening of art shows in Manhattan. He is a plumber down in Dallas. Is that where you're located?
Yeah, we're actually in Richardson, just northeast of Dallas, but Dallas is part of our service area. Yes, sir.
All right, so if you're down in his neck of the woods, he's the plumber you should be calling, and you can find him at Texas Green Plumbing. Also, texasgreenplumbing.com, I believe, is your website, correct?
Mhm.
All right, so check
Yes,
him out
sir.
there as well. Are there any other places that people could follow what you're doing and how you're doing it?
The best thing to do, and you gave great advice a while ago, look what I'm doing on YouTube. Look what I'm doing on YouTube. What I'm doing there has just been, we've learned and we've grown. And when I talk and teach people about YouTube now, I tell them, look, we try to improve every video, everything we do 1% at a time. And what I started doing there, we expanded over into LinkedIn. And if people want to watch me on YouTube, LinkedIn, whichever one, look, you can watch, you can learn, you can ask questions. We're here to help.
Well, there you go. Roger Wakefield's the real deal. I can't wait to get to know you better as time goes on, and I invite everyone to do that as well. I'm DP Knudten for the Nonfiction Brand Podcast and Nonfiction Brand Versity, the free Facebook group. I'd love for you to join. And he is
Roger Wakefield, lead AP, the expert plumber.
check him out on YouTube and every place else because the dude is doing it big time. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye. All right, we
Thank you,
are
sir.
out and we are clear. Hey, I want to let you go because I know you have your thing, but I want
You're good.
to ask you a question. I'm actively writing a book about nonfiction branding. It's called, I can show you. This is the cover art for it. Hold on, let me change. Oh, you can see it. Dun, 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 dun. Nonfiction brand, discovering, crafting, and communicating the completely true, completely you brand you already are. And I would love to include a section about you and some of the things we talked about, maybe grabbing some of the audio and turning it into a transcript and plugging it into the book. Do you have any problem with that?
No, sir, none at all.
All right. Well, Roger, I can't thank you enough. I've been dying to talk to you about this, and I hope I wasn't too much of a pest, but you don't get if you don't ask, so I was going to keep asking until I got. And I really loved our conversation. And are you going back to social media next year?
Absolutely.
Fingers crossed.
I don't with that one anymore. Yes. Yeah, as long as we're all able to go back. Yes.
Yeah. Sir. Yeah, well, good. Well, if I see you around, maybe we can get a drink or dinner or something like that if you're up for it.
Absolutely, DP. I look forward to it.
All right. Well, you take care. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, brother. Thank you again. This was great.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm telling you, the dude is cool as cool can be. Really, really fun. I hope the live stream actually worked. I know it was a little jerky there because we're maxing out our broadband here because I've got a house full of college students who are watching Netflix all day long. And anyway, thanks for watching this live stream. I'm DP Knudten, as you've heard, for, let's see, it's right over there, right there, a Nonfiction Brandversity. And I'll be talking to you guys next time as well. So, theme music. Theme music, take us on out. Oh, yeah. Bye-bye.